בחדר הקטן.
Shalom Aleichem, Parshat vayeshev. So, Parshat vayeshev, we got to sit down. Parshat vayeshev begin with the story of Yosef HaTzadik. Yosef HaTzadik is a sensitive story. Everybody relate to that. I met once a lady years ago who told me that every year she cries again when she hears the story of Yosef HaTzadik, what they did to him. A lot of people empathize with Yosef HaTzadik. However, if you pay attention to his behavior, it doesn't seem to be the tzaddik, which means there are kids usually who getting always attention by being the miskeni, right? You know, the Palestinians always, they present themselves to be the victim. They're the victim, you know, everybody goes against them. But why are they the victim? Because they start up with us. Yosef HaTzadik, are you the victim? You give hard time to your siblings. You're talking lashon hara about your brothers. You're talking bad about you're giving dreams to your siblings that make them feel very uncomfortable with you. You're putting your siblings down, and then I'm a tzaddik, Yosef HaTzadik. You're not a tzaddik. That's not an appropriate behavior to your siblings. Act like a mensch, respect your siblings, and nobody's gonna hate you. Why people hate you? Because you're not communicating, you're not respecting everybody correctly. So let's start off. The parasha begin with vayeshev Yaakov be'eretz megurei aviv be'eretz Kenan. Yaakov was sitting in the where the father Yitzchak was sitting. Ele toldot Yaakov, okay, where Yitzchak was sitting, his father. Then the Torah says, Ele toldot Yaakov, those are the descendants of Yaakov. Yosef is the child of Yaakov. Why Yosef is the favorite child of Yaakov? There is a funny Rashi. Rashi said, because the similar stuff, number one, which makes sense, the only reason Yaakov came to marry Rachel, he worked 7 years for Rachel, and the child that came out from Rachel is Yosef. So therefore Yosef was the child of Yaakov. That I can accept. However, Rashi brings, they had many similar events. What is the similarity between Yaakov and Yosef? Number one, that his brother hated him. Esav hated Yaakov, and the sibling hated Yosef. Number two, Esav wanted to kill Yaakov, and the sibling wanted to kill Yosef. So now we have a great similarity between the two people, with all the respect that it is similar, but there is nothing to compare. The reason both of them were hated for two different reasons. Why was Esav hated by his brother? Because he stole the brachot, the blessings. That's the reason he wanted to kill him. What was it? Yeah, Yosef hated by the brothers. Because he was talked badly about the brothers, and he had stupid dreams about them. They all bent down to him. That's the reason he hated. So what are we comparing the history of Yaakov being hated by his brother Esav to the history that Yosef was hated by his siblings, by all of the 12 tribes, which totally two different reasons, two different causes of hatred, and the Torah echoed that, okay, the reason we said that Yosef is the descendant of Yaakov because of those two similar events. But although the events are similar, but there is no similarity between the event of each other. Then the Torah continued that Yosef was nar et bnei Bilha et belet Zifra. Was a young boy. It's a way nar, it's a stupid boy. Two, the concubine, the shfachot, the children of the shfachot. What is that? He was acting like a nar, like a teenager. Rashi says, "Sha'am esalsel bese'aro." He used to play with his hair to look nice. So first of all, Yosef, are you a tzaddik? Tzaddikim not supposed to, to do the haircut. You tzaddik, the first thing that parents can tell that something off with their child is the haircut, נכון? Oh, what is this haircut? What's going on with my son? Something is wrong, נכון? So yeah, oh, what's wrong with you, Yosef? Are you playing with, who are you playing with that you suddenly, you're acting, you want to look nice, you want to look good? And then the Torah continued, it was taking care of the children of, the Bnei Avshachot, the children of the female slaves. Yaakov Avinu had 4 wives. Leah, with 6 children came out of her. Rachel, 2 children. And the 2 concubines, which is the female slaves' wives, which had 2 children of each. So it says that Yosef HaTzadik was mekarev. He was warm and nice to the children of the shfachot. Why was so important? Rashi brings that the children of Leah, the Gvarim, the main children of Leah, they put down the children of the shfachot of the concubine. And they used to call them, they would call them slaves, you know? They used to call them slaves, and because they call them slaves, he put them down. So Yosef felt responsibility to take care of them, and he was extra nice to them to show them, I respect you. Although my brother is disrespecting you, I'm there, I'm here for you, and I'm respecting you a lot. But what's the connection between him? The Torah put it on the same sentence. He acted like a teenager, playing with his hair, and then he said he was respecting the children of the female slaves. A teenager doesn't respect. What's teenager related? Yeah? Teenagers don't respect. There's nothing to do between teenagers and respect, except my daughter. There is nothing to do between teenager and respect. What is the Torah comparing? He acts like a teenager, and then he respects the children of the female slaves. It's interesting to see that Yaakov, it says that Yosef HaTzadik used to look forward to find bad things about his siblings, only those who came out of Leah. The 6 children of Leah is Reuven, Shimon, Levi, Yehuda, Issachar, Zvulun. He was looking out to find them at fault. And anything they did wrong, he came and he reported to his father. There were 3 main things that he reported. Number 1, they were eating ever min achai. You're not allowed to eat any limb of an animal unless you did shchita. So in another word, they said they just go to a cow, chop the leg, and eating it for lunch. That's against the Torah rules. Number 2, they called their siblings, the children of the female slave, they called them slaves. That's respecting them. Number 3, they said, the Gemara says that they are looking out on the non-Jewish girls, the Bnot Haaretz. They were looking, he blamed them, they were looking on the non-Jewish girls outside, and that's why he put them down in a way and reported badly to his father. It is interesting, what's the common denominator between those 3 events? Those 3 averot. Number 1, eating a limb without shchita. Number 2, calling their siblings slaves. And number 3, of looking out for other immoral relationship. What's the common denominator? What's the message that Yosef is trying to give his father about the siblings? We're going to go forward and we see very odd behavior from his father. The father Yaakov comes and he said he loved him more than all of his children. Why? Ki ben zekunim ulo. Ben zekunim, the second shot in Rashi, he was the youngest child. Youngest child means physically he's youngest child. Rashi says no, a young child is not a reason for a great person like Yaakov Avinu to love. You know why he loved the youngest child? Why he loved Yosef? He wasn't the youngest child. He looked very similar to him. And that's why he loved him the most. To be honest, I can understand this type of favorite by a regular person, not by a giant like Yaakov Avinu. If you pay attention, he didn't say that Yaakov loved Yosef. He said, Israel ahavit Yosef. Whenever we're mentioning the word Israel, it's not the father. He's the leader of the nation. So as a leader of the nation, you like somebody who looks like you, that sounds like today, day and age, you know? Relate to South Beach, not to a giant tzaddik like Yaakov Avinu. So again, he liked them more, and he bought for him ktonet pasim. Within it is a tunic. The word pasim, a special gown, special beautiful garment. What's the meaning of the word pasim, this beautiful garment? Says Rashi, 2 pshatim. number one, the Gemara says that pasi means klei milah, very fine and expensive type of textile, of material. That was special about the tunic, the gown that Yaakov got Yosef. Very fancy one. And then Rashi brings a second pshat. Pasim stands for the 4 locations that Yosef was sold to. Peit was sold to the minister Potiphar. Samech is la sochrim, to the merchants. Yud la Ishmaelim, to the Arabs. Men la Midyanim, la Midyanim. So the word pasim, in one end, very interesting, represent the quality of garment. At the other end, pasim represent the non-quality of events that happened to Yosef. So what's the meaning of the word pasim? Is that means quality or not quality? Is that means beautiful type of garment? Or means there's something, the bad event that happened to him? Which type of meser we see Yaakov giving over to Yosef by this garment? The hardest thing, the Gemara said, a father should never favorite another child between his children. Lama? Look what happened when he favorite one. Ben, you point to 2 people. Is that Tal or Natan? Ata Shchora, the two whites. You're doing well. Usually I wanted the word then. Every child thinks that the parents have a favorite, but it's not them. It's always the other one. Yeah, the other one. So both of you pointing on Natan? Okay. So your parents have favorite, yeah. But the Gemara says, do not show it. If you have favorite, don't say it out loud. If my kids ask me if they're favorite, I'm not going to say it. I can't do it in front of them. So I said, do I like one of the fingers better? No, right? So I like all of them, to be honest. Some fingers are more important, so that's an excuse. Every parent says favorite, but you cannot tell the other siblings. So therefore we see, so the Gemara says that that Yaakov, don't do what Yaakov did. Because he played favorites, and what happened? Yosef was sold to Mitzrayim, to Egypt, and all of the family went to Egypt because of playing favorite. But the question is to Yaakov, what are you doing? Are you playing favorite? What happened over here? We continue forward. They're into the story, very interesting. Now we're going into the dreams. So basically, having dreams and saying it over, I used to, as a rabbi, we used to be more often, I used to answer the halacha hotline. Rabbi, I had a dream. All those questions of dream, I have no idea how to interpret a dream. To be honest, I never dream. And if I do, probably I forget. And if I do something crazy, you move on. Why? You drink coffee in the morning and I call the Seder. So those people, Moroccan especially, Moroccans, they call me, wow, I had a dream, this and this. My father, Alav Shalom, passed away within this year. All of my siblings had dreams except me, And each one has his own story from the dream. I don't know, I don't know if my father doesn't show up to my dream because I don't like to talk about the dream, or I don't dream, But dreams usually is something very private. So Kam Yosef HaTzadik, and he decide to share the message of the dream. So the Torah says, interesting, Vayechalom Yosef chalom vayaged lechav. Yosef had a dream and he said it over to his siblings. First step was that when he and the children, when the siblings, the 6 children of Leah, saw that the father bought him the special tunic, the special clothing, he said, Vayisneu oto. They hated him. They couldn't fake it. They were real people and they hated him. Then the Torah says that Vayachalom Yosef chalom, Yosef had a dream, Vayaged le'echad, he said it over to his siblings, Vayosifu od senoto, and they hate him more, because as he said, a dream. Then the Torah continued, Vayomer aleim, he giving them the dream. Listen to the dream that they just had. Shimuna chalom hazeh asher chalamti. He said, we are all bundling bundles, we are harvesting the field, and we're bundling bundles. And my bundle stood in the middle, and you all came and bowed down to my bundle. So they responded back to him, you want to control us? You want to be a king over us? And then vayosifu od senoto. So there are 3 stages in the hatred. Interesting why. Step 1 is vayisneu oto, because Because the father favored him. Step 2, because he had a dream and he said it. Step 3, he said the dream and they hate him again. So they hate him twice for the dream. What's going on? So that was the first dream. Second dream was, vayechalom Yosef chalom acher. He had another dream and he said it over to his siblings. What was the other dream? He said the star and the moon, and the sun and the moon and the 11 stars bending down to me. And over there, we don't see any response. If you give you another dream that you're going to bend down to him, what should be the response of the kid? Say, hate him again. No, the Torah didn't say to hate him. Then Torah said that he said the story again to his father in front of the siblings. And his father gave him criticism. He said, what's going on with you? You think the meaning of the chalom is your father and your mother are going to get bent down to you, fall down to you. You think it's possible that me and your mom are going to come? Your mom dead. So it's impossible that we're going to bend down to you. However, he says, V'aviv shamar et hadavar, because he knew that the replacement of Leah was the concubine, the female slave, Zilpah. So he knew that the mother is not the real mother, it's a different mother. Yet the father gave him a hard time, and then the Torah switched the language. The Torah doesn't say anymore they hate him. The Torah says, Vayekanu bo echav, they were jealous on him. Interesting to see the difference between hatred and jealousy. But what bothered me in this story, what was the fault on the second dream? What was wrong? That the mother wouldn't be able to come to bed down. So why is Yaakov telling them, with me and your mom going to come? It should have said, can your mom come? Because there is nothing about him. Yaakov, you're here. And eventually bend down to him. So the only missing fact in the story, in the dream, was the mom. So why is Yaakov telling him, is me and your mom going to come to the dream when he's alive? And he came to bend down to him, and he instead of referring only about the mom, he referred about both. This is the questions. Let's start up. There is an interesting opening key to this week's parasha. It says in the parasha that the Torah begins, Ele toldot Yaakov, Yosef. Yosef is a child of Yaakov. The Rashi bring a special mashal. He said, a parable, a story to compare what happened. What's going on over here? In last week's parasha, the Torah lists about 24 alufim, generals, that the Esav had. Aluf Teman, Aluf Kenaz, Aluf. Aluf is like high-end general. And Yaakov Avinu said, look at them. Who am I? What am I going to be in life? I'm a nobody. Look at the alufim. Look at the alufim. They're so strong, the children of Esav, and I am nobody. Hashem told them, don't worry, you have Yosef. What's special about Yosef? He said, Vaya bet Yaakov esh. Yaakov, it's a fire. Ubet Yosef lehava, it's a strong flame. Ubet Esav lekash, and Esav will be straw. So a spark comes out of Yosef and burns Esav. So Rashi brings a parable, an example to understand what's the message. So he brings the following story. He said, was a pishtani. Pishtani, it's a man who sells flax, linen, flax. And the pishtani was walking into the warehouse, the shop of the pechami, the blacksmith. So the blacksmith was sitting in his shop, and he sees the pishtani, the flaxman, walking with his camels into his shop, and he said, where are these flax going to fit? Where are they going to be? So much flax into my shop? Said the pechami, said to him, a smart guy, don't worry, al tidag. One spark come out of your blower and blows all of the flax away. So you have no worry over here. So is the story clear? The flax guy goes into the shop. The blacksmith will deal with fire and coals. He's like, what's going to be so much? Smart guy tell him, don't worry. This flax guy, one spark comes out of you. A smart guy, gonna burn it all. I'm sorry about my question, but he's not a smart guy, it's a dumb. Why, Yaakov? If you're going to blow the flax, what's going to happen to the blacksmith? He's going to blow also. He's going to be in fire also. Why is that a remedy to the problem? And that's a comparable between Esav and Yosef. How is that comparable? Which spark will it come out of Yosef? So we see the sparks that came out from Yosef to Esav. What's the tension between Esav to Yaakov? What's the remedy of comparing Yaakov into a spark? So I think we said the following. The original wives, we spoke about that last week, Yaakov's wife supposed to be only Rachel. Esav's wife supposed to be Leah. Leah is the neshama of, the soul of Esav. Rachel is the soul of Yaakov. Let's think what's the difference between Esav and Yaakov. Esav is a man that, let's talk first about flax. Flax, what's the significance about flax? Flax is a material that gotta stay fluffy. You don't see sheets on the bed made out of flax because you need to iron them. In America we don't dirty iron, right? You know, in Eretz Israel, my children saw iron, I was like, oh, mazet, you know, what's that? You know? Because we don't iron much over here. We send to dry clean, Baruch Hashem. So flax needs to be ironed. It's supposed to be always fluffy and open. That's the identity of a flax. Blacksmith, a guy dealt with fire, what does he need to do? He always needs to be content. He needs to keep the fire down. Shouldn't be too much fire. You cannot put advertisement outside, big sign of fire, because the city will be burnt. The only way to maintain a blacksmith business is by putting very low-key operation. The only way to maintain flax business a lot is by high-key operation, getting to a lot of attention, expanding it. Says the owner of the blacksmith said, who am I in this place? Look at the flax guy. He's big. He's so powerful. He has so much linen. It's all over the shop. He's powerful. Who am I? The quiet guy who does nothing and just keep everything low. I'm a nobody. Told him a smart guy, you have to understand something. The only reason the flax man is a big man is because you're maintaining low profile. If you wouldn't maintain low profile, the flax guy wouldn't be able to come to you. He's relying on you to keep himself living, to keep himself exist. Without you keeping the low key and maintaining low fire, then he cannot even walk into it. You're going to be stuck. Everything will be burned. Which means that he gave them an unbelievable message. He told them, the flax man told, the wise guy told the blacksmith, although you're the quiet guy, you're content, everything is fine, you're the most powerful person over here. Because we all relying on you. Without you being that quiet, special, powerful, the flaxman wouldn't be able to show himself off. The Gemara says in Megillah, Achareva Amalea. Says the Gemara that Esav and Yaakov are always on opposite level. If Esav is up, Yaakov is down. If Yaakov is up, Esav is down. Why? If Esav is up, he needs Yaakov to be down. If Yaakov is up, Esav is going to blow. He's example of the flux. So therefore, Esav admire you. Said the wise guy, the flux guy admire you for being content for who you are. So this is a comparable of Yaakov and Esav. When he said, the Torah says, Yaakov, when he was the age of 13, there was a difference between Esav and Yaakov. Esav was tzayid befiv, trap people, big business, gangster. What is he looking for? Attention. He's the fluffy guy. Yaakov, quiet, ishtam, quiet guy, sitting and learning. Yaakov was always intimidated by Esav. How come He's the powerful guy, the strong guy, and I am a nobody. When Yaakov became somebody, what did Esav do? It was about to kill him. What caused Esav to withdraw his plan and not to kill Yaakov? When Yaakov showed him, I'm a nobody. I have only show, chamor, I just there what I need for myself. I'm not a powerful guy. If you're nobody, I can be who I am. There was a constant battle between Esav and Yaakov. Now, last week Parshat we see that were alufim, the generals of Esav. They were very strong. Says Yaakov, look how the generals of Esav are so strong. Who am I? What's alufim means? The Gemara says in Sanhedrin that there is a melech and there is aluf. There is a king and there is general. What's the difference? A king, it's a kingdomship with a crown. Aluf, general, is not art is aluf. The general that referring to, it's a king without a crown. What creates the crowns? So the Rashi explained, depends who appoints you. If you appoint yourself over others, you are only aluf. You're just a general, no crown, because you use the other people for your own place. But if people appoint you, you are a king. Esav is the man who appoints himself over on everybody else. He needs the attention, he needs the recognition of others. He's the powerful guy, he's the one who drives the Lamborghini with the chain of diamonds all over, chrome Lamborghini. So one of the parents came over here one day. No, it's a big shot, everybody knows him, he's flashy. That was Esav. But who made him to be that, to be strong? He pushed himself over other people. Do the other people believe that he's strong? No way. If you push yourself over others, any dictator, the people don't feel that he's strong. Said Hashem to Yaakov, no, you are a king. What's the power of a king? To empower other people. The job of a king is not to use people to empower him. He's the one empowering other people. Hashem told Yaakov, Yaakov, you're the most powerful guy ever. You're the quiet guy, you have the ability to empower, and you can empower other people to be who they are. Who would Yaakov empower? There were two types of kids in the family. The 6 kids of Leah, and the kids of the Shfachot, the female children, the female slave children, and there was Yosef. Torah says that Yosef was similar exactly to Yaakov. That means that Yosef is similar to Yaakov, and the children of Leah are similar to who? To Esav. Look at the behavior of children of Leah. It's a behavior of people who needs to get powered by others. Number one, they disrespect their siblings by calling them slaves. How do they feel good about themselves? Putting down other people. Number two, eating a limb out of a living animal, it's a sign of power. I'm ripping off an animal. The Gemara says that Nebuchadnezzar was ripping off a rabbit and eating it alive. Lama? It's a sign of power. I'm controlling others. Shchita teaching you, the Chinuch Sesel Chinuch, Shchita teaching you to have patience. You want to eat? Okay. Shchita. Okay, finish Shchita. Sold the milk. Wait. Everything in Judaism involved with patience. Okay? You want to drink? Everything, any move we have, it's all about patience. It's all time, bound with time and patience. Shchita teaching patience, ripping off an animal and eating it alive, is I'm in control. Nobody can tell me what to do. And lastly, the needs of women coming from, you need other people to empower you. When people feel empty with themselves, they're looking for other relationship. And Yosef seeing this type of behavior over his siblings. And Yosef understands that something wrong going on in the family and he got to do something about it. What is Yosef doing? Yosef takes responsibility. On a wrong way, we'll see in a second, but he's taking full responsibility on his family. He realized that the children of Leah disrespecting the children of the female slaves. So you got to do something about it. Number one, is letting the father know who they are. Don't show off. Look what you're doing behind the scenes. Relax. By the way, it was wrong. But that was a way to take care of the children of the female slave. When somebody puts you down, calling you a slave, when are you going to be more humiliated and embarrassed? If it's a very chashuv guy, or if he's a simple guy? You know, if it's somebody outstanding, you will feel more uncomfortable. If he's a nobody, you wouldn't care. Number one, he made sure to make them into nobodies. Number two, he was respecting his brothers, the children of the female slave. He respected them more than the usual. But he did something unbelievable. The Torah says, "Ve'ona," he acted like a kid. I'm sorry to say, but if you tell people that they are slaves, they're acting like slaves. You know, if you tell somebody they act like that. You know, אתה אומר לכם ערסים, you know, arsim in Hebrew, and it's the ghetto guys. You know, arsim is especially in Israel. The gangster, it's called arsim. So if you're telling somebody that they're arsim, they act like arsim. How do you relate to arsim? Yosef wants to relate to them. Torah says, "Nesansel b'se'aro." He played with his hair. He did a similar haircuts. He can relate to them. And therefore, I said, "V'una et bnei bilav et bnei zilpa." He was acting like them to make them feel good about themselves. That's somebody who cares, is a leader and care. Comes Yaakov Avinu and said, "My dear Yosef, I appreciate you acting as a leader, but I'm going to teach you how to be a leader. A leader should never go down to the level of the people who he leads. He needs to elevate himself and to admire them through him himself being very special. The technique that Yosef used to respect them is to put down the children of Leah and to go down to their level. Said Yaakov to Yosef, you don't need to do that. Do the opposite. Elevate yourself, and when you're being recognized, but they're going to be recognized by you, it's several different meanings. There was a great Rav of Cheskel Avramsky, was a big tzaddik in Yerushalayim. So I heard from somebody, he said he was walking, this is 40 years ago story, he was walking with them on Shabbat, on the street, after Tefillah, and he see a girl, 7 years old, walking and crying. So we, unfortunately, when we see kids crying, it's good, they develop the lungs. But the tzaddikim looking at kids crying, feel bad. You're crying. What's going on? So he went over to the girl, who was 93 years old, and went down to her. He's like, why are you crying? He said, because my friend said that I'm ugly. He said, what's your name? He says, my name is vayeshev. He said, okay, Batsheva, listen now. Go over to your friend and tell her that Harav Yechezkel Avramsky says that you are a very beautiful girl. She said, Rabbi, really? He said, yes. Go tell her that I said. And she was walking like a queen. Probably, I'm assuming the remaining story. Going over, Rabbi Avramsky said that I'm a beautiful girl. This is taking a powerful person to empower somebody lower. Says Yaakov to Yosef, you want to empower your brothers? Don't put down the troubled ones and don't go down to the difficult ones. Rather, do something else. He did for him ketonet pasim. He said, treat yourself as a king. The quality of the clothing, of the tunic, of the garment that he gave them, Mara says, was the highest quality material. Admire yourself, appreciate yourself. But there is an unbelievable message given by Yaakov to Yosef. It said that Israel, I'm appointing you officially to be the leader of the family. The qualities that leaders need are, number one, being sensitive to other people. And number two, and this is, I'll give an example, was a story of a king. He wanted to train his only son, who's going to eventually will take over, to be the smartest king ever. And he brought in a special teacher, and he agreed on a 10-year contract, a huge amount of payment. He said, you're going to teach my son out for 10 years. That teacher was very unbelievable, powerful guy. And over 10 years, he taught him, really, he made him to be the smartest future king ever. He told the king, I need my money. He said, of course, here is your money. He said, but before I leave, I need private half an hour with your son. He said, of course. He went on a private half an hour with his son. The son came back out of the room, all bleeding, pain, crying. He said, what happened? He said, the teacher that you gave me took a whip and he gave me 50 lashes. They look at him, he almost broke him, he almost killed him. The king was so upset, he said, kill him! He almost killed my child, what's wrong with this guy? Well, something went on him. And everybody said, Jonah, what going on? Okay, he said, let me say something to the king. He said, no, you have nothing to say. Right before he was about to kill, the king felt uncomfortable. He said, 10 years. It was okay. Let me talk to him. Let me hear what he has to say. So he said, my king, I know that when you're not going to be in the world, it's going to be the king. And as a king, sometimes you need to judge people and to give punishment. One of the common punishment for kids at the time was giving lashes as a punishment. He said, this kid never experienced what a lash means. He said, part of the training, you need to know what it feels before he gives it over to other people. Says Yaakov to his son, Yosef, I'm giving you a garment. In one hand, you're the king. It represents passing the qualities of the material going to walk with you. But you must go through a process to earn the qualities of being a king. And the word pasin stands for the 4 cells location that it was sold to, which is the Potiphar, the merchant Socharim, the Ishmaelim, the Arabs, and the Midianites, the Midianim. His father giving him a message, you're going to go now through a journey. And this journey is going to be a difficult journey. You're going to go through hell, through difficult times, but that's what's going to make you into the powerful people, the king. Not only the king of the world, we're going to see the king of Am Yisrael. On a side note, there are 2 kings for Am Yisrael. We have from Yosef and from David, Yehuda. What about Yehuda? Yehuda, is he the right person to be the king? He's one of the 6 children of Leah. How come he became the king? To make a long story short, we know that when Yosef was sold, Yehuda was there. And Yehuda said, you know what, they were planning to kill them. And he said, instead of killing him, let's throw him down to the pit. And he was thrown down to the pit. The day after, they came to the father and they said, you know, we're sorry, Chayara Chalatlu, an animal ate. Your son, this is the tunic, this is the kutonet. And the father was devastated for all those years. And then the siblings came over to Yehuda and he said, Yehuda, shame on you. You're at fault. You told us not to kill him, we'll listen to you. If you would have told us not to sell him, we wouldn't sell him. All this suffering is because of you. So said him, they degrade him? They degrade him from his they demoted him from his position of being the king. What did he do? He went away from his siblings, and this is the story later in the Parshat, to Agisha Dulami. He went over to different location. He married a wife of the man Dulami. He had 3 children. 3 of them married a woman by the name of Tamar. And they all died because they did bad things in the eyes of Hashem. And she didn't marry to anybody. She wanted to be married to him, and the Allah has a responsibility to marry her, and he didn't want to. So she pretended herself to be a trump, and in order to seduce him, she was in the intersection, and he slept with her, she gave him collateral, and then they came to Beit Din. And in Beit Din, he said, look, she's a woman who's supposed to be currently a widow, not allowed to marry. She was pregnant. So it was a big story by Yehuda admitting I was wrong. I'm the one who slept with her. The entrance of Yehuda being a king is going through the lowest level. One of the biggest embarrassment for such a man is telling everybody I was with another woman. This is the biggest embarrassment. That's the only way a man can become a king. Those are the qualities of a king. You got to go through a low-level journey in order to be a king. We understand now that yes, Yaakov told Yosef HaTzadik, Yosef, I'm giving you a message, you're going to be the king. The siblings hate him for what? We spoke in the past. What causes hatred? Hatred causes things that you're insecure about yourself when other people highlight and bring it over to you. Like I always say, somebody tell me, Rabbi Adri, you're dumb. I'm going to say, what? ככה מדברים באפן, not nice. Somebody tell me, Rabbi Adri, you're short. Okay, I'm not tall. Meaning, nobody can question it. Where people feel uncomfortable with others, that's why it's called sinat chinam. When you hate somebody, you don't hate him, you hate yourself. If the insecurity is area of yourself, being highlighted through your friend. But a man who's comfortable with who he is will never be offended by other people. So come Yosef HaTzadik, and you give them a dream. The fact that you give him a dream, they're getting upset at him. Lama, we said earlier, who gives dreams? In history, we saw that Paro had a dream, and Nebuchadnezzar had a dream, and the two ministers' personal dream. Giving over a dream to the world, that means you think you are a leader. Says Yosef, I am a leader, and I need to give the message out. Let's pay attention to the dream and understand what was their mistake and what was the message. The dream was the following. We are bundled in bundles in the field, and my bundle is standing, and you coming down and bending down to me. They were upset at him. Are you going to be our king? You're going to be a king over us? Are you going to control us? Guys, pay attention to the dream. The message of the dream was that I'm standing in the middle, and you come and bend down to me. Who decide to bend down to the center bundle? But if you pay attention to the dream, who's the one who decide to bend down to the center bundle? The pasuk says, "Ve'ine kama alumati v'gam nitzava." My bundle stood up and stand in the center. Ve'ine, and suddenly, you surrounded me and you bent down to me, which means you empowered me. I'm not putting myself over you. That was the message. Is you empowering me. But the way they interpreted the dream was the opposite. No, you're going to control over us. He never said he will control them. One of the biggest questions that bothers me, there is a concept, לפני עיוור לא תיתן מכשול. In front of a blind guy, you cannot put a stumble, you cannot fall. We have a special mitzvah not to cause people to do avera. A father, the Gemara says, not allowed to hit his children. Lama? If an older guy you hate, he can hit you back. You're causing him to do avera. Besides today, it's not effective, that's another issue. But hitting a child, it's assumed because any Jew does anything, you got to take into consideration that's going to cause somebody to do avera. How can Yosef give them a dream that the message of the dream is I'm controlling you? The answer is that wasn't the message. The message was very clear. You're the one who will decide to make me the king. And who really at the end decide to make him the king? The brothers. He never imposed himself to be the king. Their low security, the low self-esteem, that caused the interpretation to be the dream. And then the Torah said they hate him again. That's a hatred. Then he come back with another dream. It always bothered me. What's the difference between the dream? What is the second dream? Second dream, he said that the sun and the moon, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars bending down to me. Where is he in the dream? In the first dream, who was Yosef? A bundle, one of them, who empowered him. In the second dream, who was Yosef? We don't know. But there's a special element in the second dream. Who joined the dream in the second dream? Abba and Ima, the moon and the sun. Says Yosef in the second dream, guys, if you are not empowering me, if you don't want me to be the king, I'm fine. But there is a problem. My father and my mother made me the king. Hashemesh v'Yarech stand for Yaakov and the mother. He said to them, I'm not putting myself to be the king. I'm working it as a mission. What's the mission? My father wants me to be the king. Now we can understand something also bothered me. The first dream he didn't tell over to his father. Why the second dream he said over? Because it's a dream about Yaakov. Abba, did you empower me to be the king? Were you that person? Interesting. What was Yaakov's point? Can me and you, mom, come? We asked a question. The only thing wrong in the dream is the mom is not here. Why is it said, are we and your mom going to come? He's here. But the whole idea of the dream is that he's the one who empowered them. He said, can me and your mom come to empower you when your mom is not here? So who is the only person who can come? Me. What? Me! Yaakov is giving a clear message. I'm questioning if me and your mom because we are the one who empowered you. And your mom is not here, so your mom cannot empower you. So who left to empower you? Me, I appoint you to be the king. That's a clear message that Yaakov is giving his son Yosef. And therefore, Yosef HaTzadik, and therefore all of the siblings at this point, they change it. He doesn't say anymore they hate him, they were jealous. What jealousy means? Jealousy in Hebrew, it's called lekanot. Lekanot coming from the word of a acquisition, a transaction, kinyan. Lekanot, jealousy coming from acquisition, meaning you acquire something that I don't have. People are jealous. How come he has the Lamborghini flashy and I don't have? What is not hatred? You can't hate him because he had the Lamborghini. You hate him because you're jealous. Jealous why he owns it and I don't own. Here the brothers understood and they recognized that there is a ownership of this role in this position, which is Yaakov is giving it over. Yaakov is appointing Yosef to be the king over of Am Yisrael. So, if you pay attention, the behavior of Yosef throughout the story, he never appointed himself on anything. When he was in the house of Potiphar, who decided he's going to be the leader? Potiphar. When he was in jail, it says, everybody in the jail, all of the inmates were reporting back to Yosef. They understand that he is the leader. When he was in Egypt, who decided to make him to empower him? Paro. And what did he do? He empowered Paro back. By the end of the journey of Yosef HaTzadik, he was able to empower the whole Mitzrayim for his siblings. Because the Torah says that later on, what did he do to the Egyptian? He moved them out from one place to another. Only his brother left him to be in the same place. The brother that they thought is there to give them hard time and to control over them, he did exactly the opposite. He did the exact task and job and responsibility. So I think this issue that we're talking, we're facing it out on a day-to-day. Number one, it's happening between husband and wives. Very often, one of the spouses, somebody's very loud, he needs the attention, and the other person is the quiet one. What is the feeling of the quiet person? Usually quiet people feel that they have no place. My Rosh Yeshiva told me, Ben, you're not quiet. My Rosh Yeshiva told me, Ben thinks he's quiet. And my Rosh Yeshiva told me something unbelievable. He said that when his mom passed away, he wrote on the matzeva, on the tombstone, special things about her. And me, as a Hebrew speaker, he asked me to edit it, make sure it sounds nice. One of the lines was, mem, the word mem, I forgot where it came from, miyata atzma letovat ba'ala. She reduced herself for the sake of her husband. So I said, what does Roshiva means? So he said, my father was a very powerful guy. And my mother, when my father spoke, she always stays quiet. She doesn't speak at the table. He said, it's not happening today. That used to be, okay? Don't expect it at home, please, you know. So he said when we grew up, we didn't hold of our mom as an intelligent person, as a smart woman, We looked at her as, very good and amazing wife. He said, when my father passed away, first Shabbat we sat with her, we gave Dvar Torah, she asked questions. She gave us answer back. We're like, Mom, is that you? What happened to you? He said, we realized we're the most smartest mother ever. And we were asking her, how come you didn't say anything? Where were you for the last 60 years? And she stayed silent. And then we realized what she did. She made a husband. Her being quiet, her being silent, was the ability of her husband to develop himself to be who he is. So who was the most powerful person in the family? Mom. She was able to contain, to give a space to somebody else. We all experience those experiences with him. You see, I have the privilege to host people for Shabbat. And I see a lot of couples. And sometimes you see a couple that each one of them try to talk and to create a space. And sometimes you see healthy people who know how to give the space. We live in a generation that, I'm sorry to say, women think that if they give space to their husband, make them worthless. And women try to do men's job in order for them to be recognized. I understand the need of being recognized, but it's very weak recognition for a woman by acting like a man. The highest recognition that a woman can get is by developing a husband, let him be who he is. But husbands, don't move your hand, okay? But the husband needs to have the ability to allow the wife to be the woman who can really empower them. And I tell you what do I mean. Sometime, I don't know where, husband and wife are fighting. I said once, sometimes, I said, all right, sometime, every time, we're always fighting. Well, that's the only thing we have to do together, So husband and wife fighting. Where most of the fights come from? The biggest significant difference between a man and a woman, it's man is the fluffy one who talks, who does, and he's planning, I'm going to buy another house, and I'm going to go over there, and I'm going to do it. And then the wife comes, honey, relax. Buying another house, where's the money going to come from? No, don't worry. Don't worry. I'm worried. I thought we said not to worry. Like, what are you worried? Don't worry. We're going to have another house. Bezrat Hashem. Man, it's only using Hashem. Bezrat Hashem. Well, how are you going to have another house? Don't worry. No. Relax. I know you. I've been married long enough to you to know that you're all nonsense. Come on. I'm not going anywhere and I'm not moving. Legit, nachon? Because we come, men have dreams, and women they want very reality. They are touched, they're content, and they know who they are, and they know who you are. That's the biggest issue. So they know who we are as men. How do you relate to it? What do you do? So typical, a woman will tell her husband, you are flying, you all of these dreams, and relax, calm down. And a man will tell his wife, again, you hold black in me. Anything I try to do in life, you always stop me. You know why we cannot afford a house now? Because what you're always saying to me, then putting me down. Respect your husband. That's a mitzvah that Torah on you. As a woman, you have to respect. If I say something, you're not supposed to put me down. Who's right? I'm asking both sides. I'm pointing on each other.
The man's always
The man always right. On what? On what? On what? By the way, he's not married. Don't worry. He's not married. Okay. Talk to me a week after your wedding, and then we'll finish that. So, who's right? Think about it, I say. Obviously, both of them are right. Because the only way for men to develop himself is to think big, to dream, to do, to explore, to try. And the only way to keep a family together is by a woman, a normal person, who knows what's going on, aware of the details, and being very realistic. So you have these two examples. You have, I'll talk about it in a second. You have the approach of somebody is strong, he's big, he think he can do everything. And you have very practical approach of, and also women cannot tolerate and very hard to do quick moves. Nachon, men can have quick moves. Why women don't make turn like right away sharp turn and men do? Because women cannot do quick moves. Why women take them to get ready for an event. Lama? Forever, huh? Why? You don't know what to wear? Makara. What you start off at the beginning, this is what you took at the end. So what are you complaining now? Take you half an hour to make a decision, you always take the first one that you came to. Why it takes a woman so long to get ready? Because it's creating a change. A woman cannot change herself in a second. There are movement between, big differences between man and a woman. So comes the way to address it, and that's, by the way, I think it's important, key, is to give attention to both areas. If you understand that your wife is right, meaning she has her concern. So instead of telling her, you're holding me back, what you need to tell her? Honey, you're right. I'm not going to do it to you. I'm going to make you miserable. If it's hard for you to move quick or to do anything like that, you think we cannot do it? I respect that. If you do that to your wife, would she tell you with your dream and everything? No. If you understand your wife, the Yaakov part, the woman called Beit Yaakov. My daughter Shulamit asked me, why they call Beit Yaakov? What is Yaakov? Yaakov is the name of a man, נכון? Why it's called Beit Yaakov? What's Yaakov represent? The quiet one. The power. The power of the world is Yaakov. Women represent Beit Yaakov, the power in the world. You cannot shut your wife. You cannot tell her, you're wrong, don't stop me. And the opposite. You need to recognize it. Then you can say, if you want, you can say, you can say, after you empower her, look, I have my craziness. I really want to do it. I know I'm not realistic. What do you think? Now she can tolerate you. You didn't put her down. If you didn't put her down, she can tolerate you. How would she tolerate you? Tell you know what? I have an idea. I have a grandfather who had saving that once he told me that maybe you can do it. And I have another. Suddenly she will be part of your dream. Only if you understand the Yaakov. If you give Yaakov his space. If you give the message, the calmness. Yeah, you're right. Your concerns are correct. If I might say to the women's section as well, you can do the same thing to your husband. If your husband comes with the dreams, and you told him, I love your dreams. Wow, great idea. We should move your house. Very good. But something bothers me. I have a hard time not knowing what's going to be the finest thing. How we're going to do it. Make me relax. If you didn't put him down, he can understand you. He can tolerate. Each one is a space. We need the flying mentality, and we need the contempt mentality. It's going to work only if we understand who is Yaakov, and men need to understand that it's a certain signs of a sab within us, and it's okay. This needs to go. We need somebody to contain it, but only if you respect and you contain the other person. So our wish, our tefillah, yiratzon, we should understand. We should admire those quiet people. We are in a world that the flashy people who have all over Instagram their messages to the world, they are the one who we admire. But to admire the simple Jew, our Rosh Yeshiva said one in my greet, guys asking for a bracha. So he said, Yehi ratzon shetiyeh Yehudi tov, you should be a good Jew. So it was Inon, I think, it was Inon Sharabi. So he said, Ma Rav Zeu? He said, Alevai, I wish you will do that. You can reach that level. We need to admire those simple Jews and admire our simple people within us. And the last one to admire is ourselves. Within ourselves, we always have the Yaakov, the simple person. Connect to the simple of you. Don't try to connect to the Sav outside. Shabbat shalom.